Hello, this is David Waumsley here with the fourth part of my series where I'm sharing with you how I'm trying to build up a new productized web building service with Beaver Builder and Beaver Themer. In the last video, I was sharing with you the plugins that we're presently using in our WordPress blueprint. And in this video, I want to share with you the blueprint itself, how we configured certain pages and templates, all designed to save us time on each new client project. Now, I have created a blog post, which isn't published at the moment, but will be as soon as I add this video, and the link will be below. And I just want to show you this link down here, or you can click on this image, it'll take you to the same place where the blueprint is itself. Now, it's actually on our server hidden behind a coming soon page, but I've created a bypass URL just for my Beaver Builder chums, so you can go here and see what I'm working on. Now, it's not perfect, it's probably got lots of typos all over it, it's still very much a work in progress, but hopefully you'll be able to see how things change over time. And if you're watching this video later, it'll probably look very different to this video itself. One other thing to mention is that some of the functionality with the bypass URL seems not to be working. So there's a button which is supposed to initiate a pop-up form that doesn't seem to work while I'm going through this bypass URL, but otherwise it's pretty much all there. So let me go on to the blueprint itself. So as I mentioned, it's on our server and it's kept on a subdomain of the new business name. So it's blueprint.wpcornershop.com, which is going to be the name of the business when we get that finally running towards the end of 2017. And the first thing to really mention about this is not templates to be aesthetically pleasing design. It's not something we're expecting a client to come in and stick their content into our existing design. This really, even though I've put some styling on it, is just as a kind of checklist for us. So how this is kind of going to work, certainly for the future, is that with the free course that we're giving away, that's supposed to stand on its own, not just to be something to help our clients, that is going to cover what a client needs to know about picking the right kind of layout for the site that they intended to have, explain a little bit about color and color psychology, explain a little bit about what might be correct typography to use for their site and that kind of stuff. So if they do come to work with us, we hopefully will have reasonably educated clients by the time they come. And we will be then planning to have a rough idea, a rough configuration of their homepage and what will be used in terms of basic style and color for that. Now, presently, our clients, the people we're testing on the 2-day web builds, are coming from my friend's business for their clients, and she's designing those homepages for them. They're in basic form, and she also provides them with something I've put together, which is 40 templates of other sort of similar to modern designs, if you like, that they can look for inspiration. So that's how that's working at the moment. But just the key thing is that this isn't there for its design aesthetics here. It's really set up as a reminder. Let me go on first to this start here. So the key thing about this is the client may not see this page as it's laid out as it is, because before they come and we've got that design, it's up to the developer role, as I'm calling it, I'll put that in brackets, which is the role that I'm occupying. So I will be setting up some basic templates for the homepage, setting in that typography and color already. So this bit is to help me do that quicker. And what it is just a series, in fact 9 at the moment, blog posts where it's got other sort of resources that I might want, bits of snippets and other links out to things that I regularly need when I'm doing the work. But this startup one links to other pages in here, and you'll see already that this is already styled, so double purpose here. I've already used the Beaver Themer to set up a blog post grid archive, and that's what's been applied to this. So that's already in place, and we can just change this if a client wants to use a blog post. We can already have a grid, it's already there, so I could just open this up and go into Page Builder and change it ready for them. And also I'm using the blog post singles over here, so you'll see when I go into this Get Started post, it's already applying a layout that's been created with Thema. Okay, so here's my quick startup. So the first things I want to do is to set up the color and the typography for the theme from the beginning. So I open up this one first, which is just a link to W3 Schools for color picking. And this will make sense when I go to the next one, which is the post itself. Now what I've done with these links is I've connected them up to the customizer. So the post that is on color opens with the customizer on, which saves a bit of time. Now this is solving a problem that I found before when I was working with the Beaver theme and customizer. There's color settings in a lot of different places, and it's very easy to forget them when you want to set the whole scheme. So you could suddenly find you turn on say a footer or something and you've forgotten the color there. So this is a way of stopping that. I've created a graphic here which just has little points about where color is held in the customizer. So that just saves time. So all I need to do is to look into general. If I want to change that, I can just go through these in order, but I'll just skip one there and go accent color. So if I'm changing it to their color scheme, I'll probably know the primary color here, but let me just take this, and this is where the W3C schools come in, and why I've picked this particular page is I can use this to, there's my color. And what I'm typically wanting to do, of course, something that a client's not going to give you, is they hover over color. So generally I want something a little bit darker. So I can just pick this one at 30% here and grab that and paste it in to my hover color here, and just have that available as I go through all the colors. So that's what I've done there to speed up setting the colors. Actually, in that post as well, there was a little reminder. You didn't really need to see this, but just a little reminder to myself that I need to also set the color picker in the builder itself. And now we're just waiting now because the net seems to be going a bit slow. Okay, just to show you that I've done that. Yeah, so a little reminder for myself to also go and set those in the color picker itself, so I could open up a new tab to do that if I wanted. Okay, and the same thing applies here when setting the typography. An idea that I've pinched from seeing Genesis child themes, they always seem to set up a page which shows you the typography that's being used on that child theme. And here it's quite useful to have that when setting the typography for the theme. And I've just got a little reminder of where to go here. So if I went into general and go into headers here, I can set my font family if I want, but here I can use this. So when I'm making changes, let's say I want to go and look at the headers and change their sizes, I can just go and adapt those as I want until I get a page that's looking as I would like it for the typography. So that's what that's there for. I shall leave that. Next one, I mentioned this actually in the last video. This one didn't open up a new tab there, something I need to sort out. I mentioned this plugin by the Idea Box team. These are the people behind the Power Pack for Beaver Builder set of modules and templates, and they've created this free on the repository plugin called Styler for Gravity Forms, and you can just globally style your gravity forms with it through the customizer, which is quite handy. So I can just show you this. So I set up another page here with a couple of forms on it, and they're ready. So if I wanted to go and say change the button color, I can just go here and do that, and that's going to apply to the whole of the site here. And I've put a little link here as well to find those CSS ready classes for gravity forms. So that's if you want to line up your forms into different columns. Really handy link that one is. So that's really how I'm using most of this. Now I have to be careful here to make sure that I leave this and go back to the right place. Yeah, there's another link here to headers and footers. This one's perhaps not needed too much. You can check this out for yourself, but I featured this on a blog post, but it was often not easy to know what header and footer options I had available to me in the Beaver Builder theme, and here was just a quick guide to that. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. There's some other links in there and you can investigate yourself, some snippets here which are using PHP and CSS that needs to be added to. I haven't completed that, but just some basic resources all within the site that I'm working on, and that's the idea with this. Let's go back to the home page and mention some other things on this. So some of the pages I've set up. So one of the things is really the conversion side of this. So hopefully the course will be really featuring that, so a client will be thinking about that, will be constructing some good copy for their site before they come, particularly looking at things like a value proposition, something at the beginning of the site that greets the visitor and tells them what they're going to get, what is the promise here. And that's really why most of the rest of the templates are here as reminders. Now, if the client's not ready with it and they've not got all the content ready for their 2-day web build, be creating their new homepage layout, but using some of this text as reminder for them so they can still be working on it. So I'll leave you to go through most of this, but it's things that I've taken from watching videos on Bounce, from some various blog articles on conversion. I've tried to condense the main things down here, focusing on the what's in it for me, talking to the client, focusing on digital marketing rather than traditional advertising. So rather offering promises, trying to reach people with their pain points, trying to drag people into your offer rather than push out messages about who you are. It's really the reverse with most of digital marketing to what you've typically had in advertising marketing before it, and that's quite difficult to get over to clients. So this is designed to remind them how to sort of keep their sentences for their copy short and simple and scannable, and to not let them get too hung up with things like grammar, making sure that they talk in the language of the people who are going to be visiting. So it's all those kind of things, pointing out that each page really needs a purpose, a call to action, and that call to action needs to be clear and either needs enough space around it so it can be seen and the eye is drawn to it, that kind of thing. And various other things like the importance of using social proof. So if the client has some realistic testimonials that they can use, that's great to put that in. It's great to have faces in there. Also things like this, using clients and partners, little bit tentative, the connections on these you probably noticed on people who use it, but by the idea of saying that you partner with somebody, you have some sort of connection with somebody, it gives you a bit of extra kudos. It shows you that you are connected to other people. You're not just some 14-year-old boy making a website that's unknown, and that's the kind of big fear there. And the importance of scarcity, those are the kind of things just to remind us really while we're working with the client about the importance of these by placing them. And I've done the same again with things like about pages. It's amazing how many businesses don't have an about page, the second most visited page out there, and it serves a purpose. It tells the clients whether you're trustworthy. It makes them realize whether you stand for something that they agree with. So it's the key thing is about getting clients to make sure that they focus on the values that they share with their target audience. So they focus on somebody rather than trying to be everything to everybody and be nothing at all. So it's all that kind of thing, and the importance of writing up and showing yourself really, and just presenting yourself in the right way. So that's all in there. As services page here, I include as well, which really is just an excuse to put in a pricing table and style one up already with some icons here. And I also use it to put in a comparison table using Table Press, and I've got the code snippets for that in the Get Started section here. But it's a lot easier to remove one of these if it's not going to be needed on the site than it is to set one up and add in the basic styling. So that's why it's there. It's just easier to remove. What we got finally, contact page. This is a classic one. I think I'm going on a little bit now, but never mind. Amount of times that somebody does do a call to action on their page and it links just through to a contact page which has just got nothing more than a form. And this is a real big failure for conversion, so I've just put some reminders in here. It's a good idea to put some social proof, so you might put a testimonial next to your form. It's something that increases the likelihood of somebody filling a form is asking a question just before that form, so it just doesn't dump the form there and say you make up while you're here. And little things like here just remind people that they could add something extra, like explain what happens next, what the promise is, what the response time is, any social proof, as I mentioned, and any way of adding any easy options if you can have drop-down menus if it's going to be a complex form and that kind of stuff. And typically we'll sign people up to a newsletter as well if we can. So that's that. Finally, on the template, again, just to save time, we put in a standard privacy policy. So this is something that the client, if the client are not very good at putting in their own content, we could, while we're working with them live, we could ask them to just be sorting out and amending this privacy policy to one that suits them. But we've picked one for the UK because that's going to work. It's a standard one we found online, and there's a page for that. I also create a landing page because one of the encouragements for them getting their stuff together is that we might be able to create more than we would expect to do in the 2 days. So if they're really good at getting their design and get their content and they work well with us, we might have time to build out a landing page for them as well. So I have one created for that. And finally, I also add in some products here, because this is quite common for a lot of the sites that we do, that they will want some products. So we have some custom post types set up already and templated using Beaver Thema. And that's pretty much how it goes. If I just go through here, we can see here that I've set up various things with a Beaver Thema. So all these ones called theme here. So there's a 404 page already set up, ready to click on here and redesign if needed. The blog post, the custom post type archive page, as we just saw with the products, and as we're looking at now, the custom post type single, which has been arranged. I keep a theme header. At the moment, this header is just using the standard theme header, but I think more and more we'll be using this for the headers to design them for all of the sites. And pretty much that's going to be the same with the footer as well, which is one of the footers which is just prepared with the thema rather than using the actual Beaver theme footer. Probably likely to always use Beaver Thema. And I think that's probably enough I need to tell you. You can see here top bars and things like that. And I also save some other things like a row of social icons. So a module saved here, an icon group here. It's a lot quicker to set up one of these with the standard Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, etc. and remove them as not needed than it is to go in there and search for individual icons. So that's the idea. We set everything up, then we can just delete anything that's not needed and clear the database out on that. And that, I think, pretty much concludes the video, except I'll throw one more thing in, just if you're still with me, because I covered it in the blog post. It's just me trying to get a bit of extra earnings, to be honest, with this one, but it might be useful to you. I've included my DigitalOcean referral link, which would give you $10 credit and give you a chance to try out DigitalOcean. Now, that's the hosting that we use for all of this, and we use it also with Server Pilot. So I'll just tell you a little bit about just how we move stuff around, because I don't know where else I would tell you about that. So we are working on local server here, so everything is on this one server. So when a client comes, we'll be moving this blueprint to a subdomain that we've set up for the development of that client site, and we'll have a couple of those, but I've got one. I'm logged in here to Server Pilot, and as you can see, I've got one called client.wpcornershop.com, and if we just finished a project with them and redesigned that, what we'd do is we'd go in there and delete that. So it'd be just a couple of clicks to delete that folder. Then we'd go in and create again. It's very quick to do it, just to create another one called client, and then we'd have a new folder. Now, usually Server Pilot's there to sort of one-click a new install of WordPress, but we don't use it for that. What we do is we will go over to the blueprint, and with a recent saved copy of that using Backup Buddy, we will send that to the new folder, and then we'll just start up the process that Backup Buddy does, which is very easy to set up a copy of the original site and then just create new databases on this one and then add in with a couple of clicks. It's only literally these. We can have the SSL certificate on them. And the process takes under 10 minutes to do. And there may be quicker ways out there. I used to work locally, but now I want to share this. And this kind of works pretty well for us now. So that's how we do it. So I think that's it. That was my little plug for DigitalOcean, and I got little notes on the blog post itself, but I've never heard anything from this, so I thought I'd just chance my arm and I'll give you my referral link. Okay, that's me done. I'm going to take a break from talking about these business ones. I'm going to come back later in the year and cover our care plan and hosting and go into detail about how we set up main WP, which is what we use to manage all the client sites. So I'll try and give you more detail on that. But for the moment, I want to take a break and start looking at some live sites that are being built with Beaver Builder and talk to some of the other people in the community so we can share some tips about how they've used Beaver Builder to make certain sites out there. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I hope to catch you again soon. If you like this video, then please give it a like, a thumbs up. And if you didn't, then just let me know how I can improve. All right, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.